Hello, students, and a warm welcome. I hope each one of you is doing well by the grace of God. Our topic for today is Chapter 5 Precipitation. In this chapter, we shall learn what is precipitation, the meaning of precipitation, the different forms of precipitation, and the various effects of precipitation. Observe the pictures given. What do you see? Yes, the blades of grass look like this on winter mornings. Snow is found everywhere in the winters in Kashmir. Generally, it rains between June and September in our region. In London, there is fog like this till the afternoons in winters. Sometimes hailstones destroy the standing crops in the fields. Let us understand all these events in detail. 70.8% part of the Earth's surface is full of water. Right, boys? You all know that. You have already learnt it in the previous classes. The distribution of this water is very uneven. It's not equal or it's not the same in all places on the earth. At some places, the water storage is limited while it is ample at other places. That is, it is in abundance. We see, experience the different forms of condensation as shown in the pictures above and in figure 5.1. These forms of condensation occur due to the water vapor in the atmosphere. As the atmospheric conditions change, we see changes in the forms of condensation. On winter mornings, we find dew. In areas located at higher altitudes, snowfall occurs, while it rains in other places. Some places experience dense fog, while some experience hailstones suddenly and face crop destruction. If you observe the map given here, you will observe that some places have limited or no water scarcity. Some places are approaching water scarcity, that is, the water content is going down. Okay, so that means it is uneven all over the world. The land and water gets heated due to the sun's heat. Evaporation takes place. The water vapor gets collected due to condensation in the form of clouds, and when the clouds become heavy, they give out rain, snow, sleet, hail, etc. in the form of precipitation. What is precipitation? Water falls in the solid or liquid state from the clouds to the ground is precipitation. Snow, hailstones, rainfall are the major forms of precipitation. So, boys, in this lesson, we will understand the three major forms of precipitation, that is snow, hail, rainfall, and also what is fog, dew, and frost. So, we begin with the first form of the precipitation, that is snow. Snow. The first form of precipitation, when the temperature in the atmosphere falls below the freezing point, water vapor directly turns into snowflakes. This is called sublimation. Okay, boys, sublimation is when the temperature is below freezing point and the water vapor turning into snowflakes is called sublimation. The vapor in the form of gas transforms into solid snow. Okay, the water vapor that is going up forms into, that is in the gaseous form, it transforms into solid snow. Precipitation in the form of solid particles of snow is known as snowfall. In high latitudinal and temperate regions, snowfall occurs at the mean sea level, while in tropical areas, snowfall occurs at places located higher than the snowline altitude. In areas away from the equator, that is the high latitudes and temperate regions, snowfall occurs at the mean sea level, while in tropical areas it occurs at higher than the snowline altitude. As snow is in the solid form, it does not flow like water. Layers of snow get deposited one over the other. When the snow accumulates on a large scale, that is, lots of snow gets collected, then the transport and communication system of that area collapses. Movement becomes impossible, and so it becomes difficult to travel from one place to the other. It gets slippery as well. But one advantage of the snow melting is that the region gets water. So that is one good thing that happens. It adds to the water supply of that region. People living in those regions have to protect themselves from frostbite. Now, what is frostbite? Freezing of skin and its upper tissues because of very cold temperatures is frostbite. Tourists going to snow covered regions face frostbites many a time. Generally, it affects hands, legs, and skin of the face. Severe frostbite can affect skin, tissues, and even reach the bones. Let us understand what is the difference between ice and snow. In areas located at higher altitudes and high latitudes, where the temperatures are below 0 degrees Celsius, precipitation occurs in the form of snow. Okay, that is very cold regions, that is below 0 degrees Celsius. Snow is friable and opaque. Friable means it can be easily reduced or made into powder. And opaque means it is not transparent. We cannot see through it. This snow accumulates in the form of layers on top of each other. Because of the pressure from the upper layers, the lower layers of the snow become homogeneous, that is, the same kind or the same type, massive, that is huge, and transparent. Massive transparent snow formed in such a way is called ice. When temperature drops below freezing point, a layer of ice forms on the lake's surface, and this layer floats on the surface of a reservoir. This ice is not related to snowfall directly. The next form of precipitation is hail. when there is lot of heat on the Earth's surface, the upward airflow blows at a greater speed. Because of this upward flow, the temperature of the air reduces and the condensation of the water vapor takes place. Dark clouds are formed because of the upward movement of air. These water droplets go to a higher altitude. Here, the solidification of these droplets occur and hailstones are formed. Hail is a type of precipitation or water in the atmosphere. Hail is formed when drops of water freeze together in the cold upper regions of the thunderstorm clouds. These chunks of ice are called hailstones. Most hailstones measure between 5 millimeters and 15 centimeters in diameter and can be round or jagged. Hailstones are formed by layers of water attaching and freezing in a large cloud. A frozen droplet begins to fall from a cloud during a storm, but is pushed back up into the cloud by a strong updraft of wind. When the hailstone is lifted, it hits liquid water droplets. Those droplets then freeze to the hailstone, adding another layer to it. The hailstone eventually falls to the earth when it becomes too heavy to remain in the cloud, or when the updraft, that is the upward movement of the wind, stops or slows down. They are also called concentric layers, okay, as they grow in size. These big heavy hailstones fall rapidly to the ground because of gravity. We call the precipitation of this type as hail showers. Because of hail, crops may get destroyed and loss of life and property may also occur. Hail occurs in summers in India, Africa, and in some parts of Southeast Asia. Hails do not occur in equatorial areas because of the heat in the atmosphere. Hails do not occur in cold zones because of the lack of upward flow of the winds. Let us make rain. You can try this at home. Gather the following materials: a vertical glass container with metal lid, nail, hammer, hot water, ice cubes, and handful of salt. Take the container with the metal lid, remove the lid. Hit the lid on the upper side at a number of points with a nail and the hammer. Take care that the lid does not get any holes because of this. Fill 1/3 of the container with steamed water, not boiled. Now put the lid on the container and close it tightly. Take care that the steam in the container should not go out. On the lid, put ice cubes, handful of rock salt, and a little water. As the vapor in the container is light, it travels upwards. As the lid is tightly closed, the vapor cannot escape. But because of the ice cubes above the lid, condensation of the vapor occurs. So boys, consequently, water droplets formed from the vapor accumulate on the inner side of the lid. Because of the punches on the lid, that is, these droplets gather together and fall down as drops. During rainfall, similar process happens in the atmosphere on a large scale. The next form of precipitation, that is rainfall. We generally get water in the form of rainfall. The temperature of the air with water vapor reduces when it goes higher. Condensation of the vapor occurs. Clouds form when the condensed water droplets and dust particles accumulate. The water droplets increase in size. When they cannot float in the air anymore because of their weight, they come down as rainfall. Rainfall is of three types. First is the convectional rainfall. Second is the orographic rainfall, which is also called as the relief rainfall. And third is the cyclonic or the frontal rainfall. In equatorial areas, the surface gets heated because of the sun's heat, and the air near it also gets heated. As it gets heated, it spreads and becomes lighter and moves upward. Cools down when it goes upwards. The moisture holding capacity of cold air is less. Consequently, condensation of the water vapor occurs and rainfall occurs. In equatorial areas, such a type of rainfall occurs almost daily in the afternoons. Rainfall is accompanied by lightning and thunder. The Congo basin of the Africa and the Amazon basin in the South America experience convectional rainfall. Such a rainfall occurs in a very limited area in the world. The next form of rainfall is orographic rainfall or relief rainfall. Winds coming from lakes or seas are moisture laden. That means they are filled with moisture or water droplets. They are obstructed by the high mountain ranges coming in their way. They start going upwards along the slope of the mountains. The temperature of these winds drop and condensation occurs and rainfall takes place. Thus, because of the obstruction of the mountains, this type of rainfall occurs. So, you got it, boys? It is because of the obstruction that the rainfall takes place. The windward side of the mountain gets more rain. Amount of vapor in the air reduces after crossing the mountain, and the moisture holding capacity of the air increases. The leeward side, that is the other side of the mountain, gets lesser rainfall, and hence this area is identified as rain shadow area. That's because there is very scanty rainfall in this area. That is the leeward side of the mountain. If you observe this diagram, you can see the wind blowing, and as the wind is blowing, the moisture or the precipitation takes place or the rainfall takes place on the windward side. And as it crosses to the leeward side, that is the other side of the mountain, the moisture in the air reduces and there is scarcity of rainfall, or it is also called, or the other side of the mountain is called as the rain shadow area. Effect of monsoon rainfall is important when we think of the Indian subcontinent. We have studied this in the previous standard. The rainfall occurring in India because of these winds is orographic type of rainfall. Now, if you look at the diagram that is there or the picture that is there, figure 5.5b, cross profile of Maharashtra and the rainfall. If you observe the winds that are blowing or the clouds, they are moisture laden in the beginning because of the Arabian Sea, the evaporation that takes place in the Arabian Sea. And as they cross the Sahyadri hills, they increase in the altitude, there is less moisture holding capacity, and as it decreases the altitude, there is increase in moisture holding capacity. Look at the color of the clouds. You can see as it goes further, it has turned completely white over the Maharashtra plateau. Goes further, there is less moisture holding clouds, and you see the color from gray it has turned to dark, and then it is less temperature, low moisture holding capacity, that is the lower in the lower lands in the east. So you can see that in the Konkan area it is area of high rainfall. As you go further after the Sahyadri hills, it is the rain shadow area, and further down there is increase in rainfall. Okay. The next type of rainfall is the cyclonic rainfall. Cyclone is the specific air formation when the pressure at an area is less than the surrounding regions. This is called cyclone. Air from the surrounding regions comes towards the center of the cyclone and starts moving upwards. As it rises, the temperature of the air reduces. Condensation occurs and rainfall takes place. It rains in areas over which the cyclone passes. Cyclonic rainfall occurs more in temperate zones, and cyclones area is also quite extensive. Comparatively, cyclonic rainfall occurring in tropical regions is limited in extent, and it is stormy in nature. Orographic rainfall occurs in most of the parts in the world. Convectional rainfall is regional in nature. There is a certainty in the convectional rainfall occurring in the equatorial areas. That means we have some idea when it will rain. Comparatively, the orographic and cyclonic rainfall are less certain, and therefore such areas are prone to very heavy rainfall, floods, or droughts frequently. You never know when it is going to rain, or it's going to be a relief rain, or when it is going to be a cyclonic rainfall, when there will be a cyclone. So they don't know. We will never know. But convectional rainfall, we have some idea. Always remember the factors which affect the amount of rainfall in a region is the amount of water vapor in the atmosphere, the air pressure of the area, and the temperature. These are the three factors that affect the amount of rainfall in a region. The topography, that is the relief features, and the latitudinal position of a place also affects its rainfall. It depends where the region lies, which latitude it lies on, or the kind of region it is, the kind of topography. All that matters and affects the amount of rainfall.